Hi guys, this is editorial analysis for 1st February 2017. There are two editorials today, both from Hindu. Let's go to the first one. This article is about how foreign companies are committing acts of corruption in India and in other developing countries, and it's us, the citizens, as consumers and as taxpayers who end up paying the cost of the corruption that these foreign companies are committing in our country. So this editorial will do in 10 points. The first point is that the British engineering giant Rolls-Royce has agreed to pay $809 million fine for corrupt practices in India, Russia, China, Thailand, Nigeria and Malaysia. Second point, Mondelez International, it's a food company. Mondelez is to pay $13 million to the US authorities for paying an Indian agent who in turn may have bribed a government official in India for purchase of a factory in Himachal Pradesh. Point number 3, in the year 2016, Cognizant admitted to violation of anti-bribery laws of the United States in its operations in India. Point number 4, in 2012, Oracle paid a $2 million civil penalty in the US to settle charges arising from a slush fund in India used to pay bribes. Point number 5, there have been many such instances of corporations admitting to violations of Foreign Corrupt Practices Act (FCPA) in their operations in India. For example, bribing government officials, misleading accounting practices in order to hide slush funds, etc. Slush funds. Point number 6. So one of the reasons why this is happening is that foreign companies cannot function in a country like India where corruption is so prevalent. So they have to, it becomes necessary for them to be complicit in corrupt practices just in order to be able to function. Point number 7, it's us, the consumers, who end up paying an inflated price because of the investments that the company has made. Investments by investments here I mean the bribery that has been paid to the by the company to the corrupt officials. So that sort of inflates the price. An average Indian also pays taxes that goes into making official purchases from these international corporations. So it's us who end up paying the price of it. Point number 8, when companies agree to pay a fine or a penalty, it's actually coming from the revenues that they have generated in India by the sales that they have made, and from that fund only they are paying the fines. So, and that those revenues come from us purchasing their products, so obviously it's us who is actually paying their penalty. Point number 9, there is a sort of lax attitude from Indian authorities. Indian government does not have any mechanism to regularly follow the FCPA Act, FCPA filings and seek domestic remedy here in India. So we don't have any mechanism to deal with that. Nor is there any evidence that CBI and Enforcement Directorate would take evidences from these filings and and pursue cases here in India. Point number 10, there is no clarity if India also gets a share of these penalties paid in developed countries for violations in India. So these are 10 points, very important for the first editorial. Let's move on to the second editorial. This is also from the Hindu. It talks about land acquisition in India and the kind of problems that it creates. So, whenever land is acquired from farmers, they are stripped of their land, livelihood and environment. People who are dispossessed of their lands, they rarely benefit from infrastructure projects. Prior informed consent remains a farce in India. There are no clear procedures in private sector involvement when it comes to land acquisition, And there is sort of a complete exemption for state-led projects when it comes to prior informed consent. There is inadequate compensation of security land, livelihood, socio-cultural life worlds. There's loss of environment and biodiversity, impoverishment of farmers, insecurity to farmers once the compensation money dries up. And all this is happening despite the fact that we have very well celebrated, or rather well celebrated, Land Acquisition Act 2013. And some of the examples in this are the Sardar Sarovar project. Lately, the water that was promised for peasants in this project, Sardar Sarovar project, it is being supplied to real estate development and infrastructure officially now, uh, which was in fact meant for the farmers. And recently, one person has died in Bhangar protests in West Bengal against land acquisition. So that is on land acquisition. Also very important for anthropology students, people who have anthropology as their optional, because displacement is one of the topics in paper 2. So that's it for 1st February 2017. Thank you.